Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Friday, October 7th, and the headlines today. Scattered storms today into early evening. The best chance will be this afternoon as we get some redevelopment out ahead of the cold front. But we're going to be quite mild today. We'll have temperatures in the mid to upper 70s across much of the area. Can't rule out an 80-degree temperature in the southeast part of the state. But again, as that cold front comes through, it's going to usher in a pretty chilly weekend. And of course, the big storm or story is the Hurricane Matthew that's not only going to affect Florida up through the Carolinas here over the next couple of days. It may do a loop-to-loop, and we may have to deal with it again as we get towards the middle of next week. And again, sunny, cool weekend this weekend. So again, nice conditions out there. If we look at the normals for the day, our normal high is 62, the normal low is 41. And if we look at conditions around the area yesterday, again for the second day in a row, Breckenridge picked up 6,800ths of an inch to lead all areas as far as rainfall. Almost 4/10 over in Newaygo. And again, for the second day in a row, that warm spot in the state was Blissfield and Jasper, where they were up to 82 degrees yesterday. And the cool spot was in Newaygo at 53 with a chilly 55-degree temperature over at Clarksville. And again, the story for yesterday was clouds, fog, and we even had some sunshine and some scattered showers. Most of the heavier rains occurred during the overnight hours here. If we look at the growing degree days, we'll have a complete report on the 10th when we finish up. But as you can see, we set a new record here. We've been keeping track of this since 1995 here at the Breckenridge location. And again, this is the warmest we've recorded over the last 21 years. And again, as we talked about, even as early as last fall, but during the MAC Winter Outlook Conference, I said that the growing degrees would not be an issue at all. And certainly that was the case. It was always going to be about moisture and, more importantly, timely moisture, and that certainly was the case. And we'll talk about next year here as we get into the winter. But looks like a pretty decent growing season potentially for the area for next season. If we look at temperatures and conditions around the state this morning, lots of cloud cover. Temperatures quite mild due to that cloud cover. You can see many areas in the 60s. Down into the 50s and across the southeastern part of the state. But again, an awfully warm morning. These are almost our normal high temperatures for the day. So we're running a good 20 plus degrees above normal for overnight lows. If we look at the Hurricane Matthew, you can see currently it's really slamming the Florida coast right now. And again, I think some of the worst hit areas are going to be like Titusville down to Melbourne. And then the heaviest rains, I think, are going to be as you get up towards Georgia and South Carolina, where they could see a good 10 to 15 additional inches of rain on top of what they had. And no doubt storm totals in some areas are going to locally be around 20 inches of rainfall. And again, hurricane force winds currently slamming much of the eastern coast of Florida from about south central Florida up to the northern Florida. Again, it's going to be a pretty rough day for them across that area all day long today into tonight before it moves off towards Georgia and South Carolina. And you can see over the next 5 days, you can see it's going to loop around all the way back down to near the Bahamas again, and that'll be for next Wednesday. So starting about next Wednesday or Thursday, we're going to have to worry about Florida once again, as it could move and slam right back into Florida. It'll at least be a tropical storm by then, but there is a chance it could strengthen to a hurricane strength once again. So this could be a double dip storm for Florida. If we look at the radar, you can clearly, or the satellite view, you can see that rotation there. Pretty well developed hurricane. And again, it's going to be a pretty nasty day for much of the southeast United States. And if we look at the radar, you can clearly see the eye wall as it's closing in towards the Cape. Again, and it's going to be heading towards Melbourne and then up towards Titusville before on its way up to Georgia. Again, a very potentially historic storm. Certainly this one will be retired when it's all said and done. And if we look at the next map, you can see some of the additional rainfall on top of what they've already picked up over the next 72 hours. And you can see in this red, this is the area between 10 and 15 inches of rain. So again, plenty more rainfall coming here over the next 72 hours. As far as closer to home, you can see how the showers and thunderstorms develop. Best support to the south and off to the northwest. But again, we'll pick up some more development of storms as that cold front moves through the area tonight, out ahead of it for this afternoon. So again, probably around 2 o'clock on is probably the best chance, I think, for showers and thunderstorms. On this morning's weather map, you can see the low pressure system that will be moving off to the northeast with the cold front extending across to the south. And by tomorrow morning, that cold front will be well off to our east. And again, this next low pressure system should sink to the southeast and should keep any precipitation over the weekend well to our south. Looks like a nice sunshiny weekend with highs around 60, maybe the low 60s. In some areas only in the upper 50s, but again, plenty of sunshine. And if we look at the weather map by Sunday morning, again, this low pressure system should be fairly dry and moisture starved, so we don't expect any precipitation across the Great Lakes here. And as far as precipitation over the next 7 days, you can see 10 to 15 inches of rain across the southeastern part of the state or the country. Here for the Great Lakes, maybe a tenth to as much as a half inch, but again, not a whole lot of rainfall. And most of this rain over the next 7 days will fall here really over the next 48 hours. As far as temperatures, it's going to be quite warm across the entire U.S. 6 to 10 day outlook. Here's the 8 to 14 day outlook. Continues to see much of the nation very warm. And it looks like we're going to dry out quite a bit across much of the central portions from Texas all the way up to New England once we get past that storm. But you can see the area in Florida, as we may expect that storm to come back around. It could bring them above normal precipitation during that time period. Same with the 8 to 14 days as that tropical storm. Still going to be affecting parts of Florida. Much of the U.S. will be dry. The Pacific Northwest, they're going to get a lot of moisture here. Could see about 10 to 12 inches of rain across parts of Washington and into Oregon. Thanks for stopping by. One last slide here. Don't want to forget the big football game tonight in Merrill, or in Breckenridge. If you don't have nothing going on, one of the biggest games in the history of Breckenridge. Could be the first. If we win tonight, that would be, I think it's been 70 years since we've won a conference, so that's quite amazing. But game time temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 60s, so it's going to be quite warm out there. Just some very scattered showers or a thunder shower, maybe just prior to game time, and a couple scattered showers are possible during the game. But again, most of the time it should be dry, warm, and it's going to be pretty breezy with winds about 15 to 20 miles per hour. So again, it will be on the breezy side. And I think that's all we got. It certainly is. You have a great day, a great weekend, and thanks for stopping by in 73s to all.